If you're watching this late at night, maybe lying in bed with the lights low or sitting somewhere quiet after a day that took more from you than it gave, I want you to know something before we go any further. You don't need more motivation right now. You don't need someone to shout at you about waking up at 5 a.m. or running 10 miles before breakfast or becoming a different person by Monday. You've heard all of that and you're still here, still trying, still carrying the weight of everything you're building. What you need, what I believe you actually came here for tonight, is for someone to sit with you in the quiet, to speak slowly, to not rush past the hard parts, to look you in the eye and say, I see how hard you're trying, and I know it doesn't always feel like it's working. So that's what this is. This isn't a hype video. This isn't a highlight reel of someone else's success designed to make you feel behind. This is a conversation between me and you in the quiet of tonight. And it's for the person who is already doing the work and still waiting for the life they're building to show up. If that's you, stay with me. I want to start by acknowledging something that most content in this space skips over entirely: the exhaustion. Not the physical kind, though that's real too. I'm talking about the exhaustion that comes from caring deeply about something for a long time without seeing the return yet. The exhaustion of waking up every day and choosing to believe in something that hasn't fully materialized yet. The exhaustion of explaining your vision to people who don't see it yet, or worse, having stopped explaining it because you're tired of the looks. The exhaustion of being your own biggest source of encouragement because the people around you have quietly moved on from being excited about your dream. That kind of tired is different. It doesn't go away with sleep. It goes away with meaning, with progress, with the feeling that what you're doing matters and is going somewhere. And when those things are delayed, when the progress is slow and the meaning feels distant, that exhaustion builds in a very specific way. It makes you start asking a question that is dangerous, not because it's wrong, but because of when you ask it. The question is this even worth it? And I want to sit with that question tonight, not run from it, not cover it with a quote and a dramatic music swell. Just sit with it honestly, because the answer matters. There is a woman I want to tell you about. She doesn't have a famous name. You won't find her story in a bestseller or a TED Talk. She's not a billionaire who started in a garage or a celebrity who turned trauma into a brand. She's just a woman who made a decision that most people around her thought was foolish. Her name is Amara. She was 29 years old, working a government job in Nairobi that paid on time, came with a pension, and asked almost nothing of her soul. Every morning she sat at the same desk. Every afternoon she watched the clock. Every evening she drove home through the same traffic, made the same tea, and sat with the same quiet feeling that something inside her was slowly going unused. She wasn't ungrateful. She knew the job was a gift her mother had sacrificed real years to help her get there. She knew people would have traded places with her without hesitation. But knowing something is a blessing and feeling alive inside it are two different things, and she had stopped feeling alive. She had an idea she'd been carrying for 3 years, a small business, nothing dramatic. She wanted to create handmade wellness products, teas, oils, things rooted in the plants and practices she'd grown up watching her grandmother use in the village. She had notebooks full of recipes. She had a name picked out. She had done the research at night after everyone else was asleep, but she hadn't started, because starting meant risking the safe thing, and the safe thing was the only thing standing between her and the fear of becoming nothing. Then one evening, for a reason she still can't fully explain, she handed in her resignation. Her mother didn't speak to her for 2 weeks. Her friends were kind in the way people are kind when they think you've made a mistake, gently, carefully, with too many questions, and Amara moved forward anyway. The first 6 months were clarifying in the way that cold water is clarifying. She lost money she hadn't planned to lose. A supplier disappeared with a deposit. A market she had counted on fell through. A friend she had trusted with her brand strategy slowly went quiet. She sat in her small apartment surrounded by unsold inventory and did the kind of accounting that has nothing to do with numbers. Is this who I am? Someone who throws away security for a dream that isn't working? Maybe my mother was right. Maybe the desk was the dream and I was just too proud to see it. She almost went back. She had the email drafted. She had the contact saved. She had the reason rehearsed. I've learned a lot and I'm ready to return to a structured environment. She sat with that email for 4 days without sending it. And on the 5th day, something small happened. A woman she had never met sent her a message on Instagram. She had bought one of Amara's teas the last sale in a week of no sales, and she wrote to say that she had been struggling with sleep for 2 years and that after 3 nights of the tea she had finally slept through the night, that she had cried in the morning because she had forgotten what it felt like to wake up rested. "I don't know who made this," she wrote, "but thank you for putting something real into the world." Amara read that message 8 times and she deleted the email. I tell you this story not because it ends perfectly. Amara's business is still small. She still has months where the numbers frighten her. She still has moments of doubt that arrive without warning and sit down like uninvited guests. But she is alive in a way she was not alive behind that desk. And she told me once, she said, "The hardest part wasn't leaving the job. The hardest part was the season after, when nothing had worked yet and I couldn't tell if I had been brave or just stupid. That season lasted almost a year, and I now think that season was the most important thing that ever happened to me, because I found out who I was when nobody was watching. And nothing was working, and it turns out I was someone who kept going." That season she's describing, that invisible, unglamorous, deeply uncomfortable season between the decision and the result. That is what I want to talk to you about tonight. Because I believe that is where you are right now. Not at the beginning, you already made your decision. Not at the end, the results haven't fully arrived yet. You are in the middle, and the middle is not a sign that you were wrong. The middle is where Amara almost sent the email. The middle is where every person who has ever built something real has sat in a quiet room, surrounded by the evidence of what hasn't worked yet, trying to find one reason to continue. The reason doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's a message from a stranger. Sometimes it's just the refusal to become the person who stopped, but it's there. And the fact that you're still looking for it, the fact that you're still here, still listening, still trying, that tells me you haven't stopped yet. And that is everything. I want to talk about something nobody in this space is honest enough about. The middle. Everyone celebrates the beginning, the decision, the courage, the moment you said yes to yourself and no to the life that wasn't yours, that gets celebrated, that gets the applause and the shares and the comments that say this is so inspiring. And everyone loves the ending, the success story, the breakthrough, the tearful interview where someone talks about where they started and how far they've come, that gets celebrated too, maybe even more. But the middle. The middle is where you spend most of your time. The middle is the season after the excitement has worn off and before the results have arrived. The middle is where the gap lives between who you are right now and who you're becoming. And the middle is specifically designed, if you can think of it that way, to answer one question. Do you actually want this, or did you just like the idea of it? Because the idea of building something is beautiful. The reality of building something is different. The reality involves days when nothing flows, days when you put in hours and produce nothing worth keeping, days when the algorithm doesn't care, the audience doesn't respond, the numbers don't move, and the voice in your head starts compiling evidence against you. See? It's been 6 months. What do you have to show for it? Other people started after you and are already further ahead. Maybe you're just not cut out for this. The middle is where that voice gets loudest, and here's what I want you to understand about that voice. It is not telling you the truth. It is telling you a story built entirely from impatience, because the middle looks like nothing is happening. But underneath the surface, in the skills you're quietly building, in the habits you're slowly solidifying, in the character being formed through the discipline of continuing when you don't feel like it, everything is happening. The middle is not empty. The middle is full. You just can't see it yet. There's a moment in the life of a bamboo tree that I find myself thinking about often. When you plant a bamboo seed and water it for the first year, nothing visible happens. Second year, nothing. Third year, fourth year, you are watering what looks like empty soil. And then in the 5th year, the bamboo shoots up 90 feet. In 6 weeks. Did it grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? Or did it spend for years building a root system strong enough to support 90 feet of growth? You are not in empty soil. You are in year 3 or 4 of a bamboo life. The growth is coming, but first the roots. There's an old Swahili proverb that sits with me differently every time I return to it. Haraka, Haraka, haina, baraka. Hurry, hurry has no blessing. Say that slowly again. Hurry, hurry has no blessing. In a world built around speed, around viral moments and overnight transformations and 30-day challenges and before and after stories, this proverb is almost revolutionary. It's saying something the algorithm will never tell you, that the fastest path and the right path are rarely the same path, that the things built in a rush rarely last. That blessing, real, deep, lasting blessing, takes the time it takes, and no amount of urgency changes that. I think about the people I genuinely admire, not the people with the most followers or the most impressive highlight reels, the people who have built something real, something that lasts, something that still stands when the trends change and the applause fades. Not one of them got there fast. Every single one of them has a story with a long, quiet, unglamorous middle. A season where they kept going without evidence that it was working. A season where they chose the work over the comfort, the long game over the quick win, the route over the rush. Haraka, Haraka, haina, baraka. Your growth is not slow, it is deep, and deep growth is the only kind that doesn't collapse when the wind comes. So what do you actually do with the waiting? Because telling you to be patient is easy. Living the patience is something else entirely. I want to give you 3 things tonight, not as a list, but as companions for the journey. The first is this: shrink the timeline you're measuring. We have a habit of measuring progress over months and years and then feeling crushed when the monthly or yearly view looks flat, but growth at the micro level is almost always happening. Today, did you know something you didn't know yesterday? Did you do something slightly better than the last time you tried it? Did you show up when you didn't feel like it? That is growth. It doesn't look like much on a spreadsheet, but compounded across hundreds of days, it becomes unrecognizable transformation. Stop measuring your progress by the destination. Start measuring it by who you were yesterday. The second thing is this: protect your belief like it's the most valuable thing you own, because in the middle it is, not your skills, not your strategy, not your network, your belief that what you're building is worth building. That belief will be attacked constantly in the middle. By comparison, by doubt, by well-meaning people who love you and still don't quite understand what you're doing. Guard it. Be selective about whose voice you let in during this season, not out of arrogance but out of necessity. A seed doesn't grow in every soil. Neither does a dream. And the third thing, and this is the one I want you to carry to sleep tonight: give yourself permission to be in process. You don't have to be finished. You don't have to have it figured out. You don't have to be the person you're becoming yet. You are allowed to be mid-transformation, somewhere between who you were and who you're becoming. That place is not a failure. That place is called becoming, and it is one of the most sacred places a human being can be. Slowest part, almost a whisper again. So tonight, before you close your eyes, I want you to do one thing, just one. Put down the measuring stick, not forever, just for tonight. Stop calculating how far you still have to go. Stop comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. Stop letting the gap between where you are and where you want to be feel like evidence that something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You are a person in the middle of building something real, and that quietly, without fanfare, without anyone watching, is one of the most courageous things a person can do. The work you did today mattered. The fact that you're still going matters. The roots you can't see yet, they are there, going deeper than you know. And when your season comes, and it will come, you will not fall, because you went deep before you went high. Sleep well tonight. You've earned the rest, and I'll see you in the next chapter.